The soil is an important resource in planting corn. It provides the nutrients that a corn plant needs for its growth and development. Its condition affects the capacity of the plant to take up and use nutrients from the soil, as well as determines the quality and quantity of harvest. Therefore, a healthy soil is what's needed for high quality and bountiful harvest. In this video, you will learn about soil fertilization and amelioration. Particularly, it will describe the characteristics of the soil appropriate for corn planting and explain the methods for improving soil quality. Corn is planted in various places in the Philippines where soil type varies. In Cagayan, the soil type is mostly clay loam and silt loam. In Isabela, the soil is either loam, silt loam, or clay loam. In Bukidnon, the soil is of clay type, while it is silt loam to clay loam in Misamis Oriental, clay to clay loam in North Cotabato, sandy loam in Sultan Kudarat, and clay loam in Lanao del Sur. Indeed, the corn plant is adaptable to different types of soil. However, it grows best in soil with medium texture, like loams, in deep or thick soil with a depth of 80 centimeters or more, well-drained, of high fertility level, and with acidity level of 5.3 to 7.3 pH. The soil's physical characteristics also affect the crop's ability to take up and use nutrients from the soil. The soil's physical characteristics include its texture, structure, bulk density, porosity, water holding capacity, hydraulic conductivity, and depth. Texture refers to the fineness or coarseness of soil. Generally, fine textured soils, like clayey soils, are more fertile than coarse textured soils. Clayey soils are derived from secondary minerals which contain high amounts of essential elements. Coarse textured soils, like sandy soils, are low in nutrients because of greater leaching of nutrients. Structure is how aggregated a soil is. Well aggregated or granulated soils provide better aeration and drainage. Therefore, they allow for better root development and more effective nutrient absorption. Bulk density pertains to how compacted a soil is. Compacted soils are poorly aerated and poorly drained. They hamper root elongation or development. Depth is the thickness of the topsoil. Thick or deep topsoil provides more volume for nutrient and water storage and allows for more extensive root system. Porosity is affected by texture, structure, and bulk density. Well aggregated soils are more porous and more loosely structured. When the soil's physical characteristics are not good, the use of soil amendments is needed. Examples of soil amendments are lime, ashes, and sand. Crop wastes such as coir dust, hay, or rice hulls may also be used. Some organic fertilizers also serve as soil amendments. As they provide the crops with nutrients, they also bring back the natural and healthy state of the soil. A crop needs 7 micronutrients and 9 macronutrients from the soil. The micronutrients that a crop needs include iron, zinc, copper, manganese, chlorine, boron, and molybdenum. They are needed by crops in very small quantities. However, they are necessary for the crop's metabolic processes such as respiration and photosynthesis. The lack of micronutrients would result to adverse effects. Macronutrients, on the other hand, are needed by crops in large amounts. These include nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, calcium, magnesium, and sulfur. Of the 7 macronutrients, nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus are consumed by crops in largest quantity, hence are called major macronutrients. Nitrogen determines a crop's overall growth. It is involved in the building of plant tissues and protein synthesis, and is a major component of the green pigment chlorophyll. Nitrogen deficiency would cause stunting of growth and general yellowing of leaves. Phosphorus is particularly important in root development, flowering, and grain formation and development. The deficiency of corn in phosphorus would cause purpling of leaves, shorter and branched roots, and incomplete grains. Potassium, on the other hand, is important for crops' vigor, resistance to pests and diseases, fruit quality, strength of fiber, and synthesis of oil, sugar, starch, and carbohydrates. Potassium deficiency usually leads to drying up of leaf tips and margins and general loss of vigor. Soils become depleted of nutrient elements because of erosion, leaching, or due to growing the same crop in a soil every year. Take note that nutrient elements are removed from the soil each time a crop is grown in it. The amount of nutrients being lost depends on the crop's nutrient requirements. Grains, like corn, take up high amounts of nitrogen and potassium. The crop's nutrient requirements must be met to ensure high yield and good quality of harvest. When a soil is deficient of certain nutrient elements, the balance has to be supplied through fertilization. There are 2 types of fertilizers, the inorganic and the organic fertilizers. Inorganic fertilizers are available from agricultural supply stores in powder, pellet, or liquid forms. Examples of inorganic fertilizer are urea, ammonium sulfate, ammonium phosphate, superphosphate, muriate of potash, and complete fertilizer. Inorganic fertilizers are highly concentrated and highly soluble in water. Crops could readily use their nutrient content. However, being water soluble, inorganic fertilizers are easily washed out from the soil. To minimize losses, split application of fertilizers is recommended. The first application is as basal application, where half of the recommended amount of fertilizer is administered to the soil right after planting. The second application is after a month, when crops are about knee-high. The remaining amount of fertilizer is applied as side dressing. When applying fertilizer, take care that the seeds or the roots will not come in contact with it. Put the fertilizer 2 to 3 centimeters deep in the soil. Also, cover the fertilizer with soil to avoid its volatilization. Be reminded too that the continuous use of inorganic fertilizers will cause too much acidity of soil. Highly acidic soils are not only harmful to crops, but also to groundwater and rivers. As alternative source of nutrient elements, organic fertilizers may be used. Organic fertilizers are derived from biological materials such as animal byproducts and excreta, green manures, crop residues, household organic wastes, or products processed from these materials such as composts. Examples of organic fertilizers are dried leaves and grasses, dried animal manure, ipil-ipil, azolla, hay, corn cobs, vegetables, and fruit peels. Organic fertilizers are best for improving the soil's chemical and physical properties. They contain all the essential elements for crops. However, The nutrient elements from organic fertilizers are not in the form that is readily usable by crops. The organic fertilizers have to be decomposed by microorganisms before the nutrients are released for plant absorption. Hence, they are also called slow-release fertilizers. What's good about its slow decomposition process is that the nutrients from organic fertilizers stay in the soil for a long time. The loss of nutrient elements through leaching and erosion is decreased. One technology which could be considered as organic fertilizer is Bio-N. Bio-N is a microbial fertilizer for corn. It can convert the nitrogen from air into ammonia and fix at equivalent 40 kilograms of nitrogen per hectare. So, what are the benefits of using Bio-N? Bio-N improves root growth of corn. It lessens the use of inorganic fertilizer by 50 to 70%. It also increases corn yield. Most of all, it is safe to use. There is no harmful effect to the environment. This is how to apply Bio-N. Put seeds in a container. Moisten with just enough water to allow Bio-N to stick to the seeds. Then, mix 1 pack of Bio-N into 4 kilograms of corn seeds until the seeds are evenly coated with it. Put the inoculated corn seeds in the planting hole and cover with soil. To obtain utmost benefits from inorganic and organic fertilizers, balanced fertilization strategy or BFS may be employed. BFS utilizes inorganic fertilizers to immediately provide the nutritional needs of the crop. It also uses organic fertilizers to supply the soil with micronutrients that are absent in inorganic fertilizers. It serves as soil amendment and helps in the efficient use of nutrients from inorganic fertilizers. The microorganisms involved in decomposition of organic fertilizers help keep the soil fertile and the crops healthy. These microorganisms are mostly decomposers that feed on decaying or biodegradable materials and transform the materials into soil. Some organisms fix nitrogen from the air and transform it to a form that is usable by plants. The hormones that microorganisms emit are also helpful for crop growth. Earthworms and arthropods make tunnels in the soil. Thus, they improve soil texture. Moreover, the presence of different types of organisms in the soil prevents the spread of crop diseases. Balanced fertilization corrects soil deficiencies, restores soil fertility, improves crop qualities, ensures optimum yields and maximum income.